And make sure the sound is muted there. Okay. All right. And there we go. We're live. Happy Monday to everyone. It's time for another episode of Rhevs Palaver. It is Monday, August 7th. I am your host, Rhev, streaming live from twitch.tv/doserev, and I am joined by the manliest man-bearded Darkdaddy from twitch.tv, Darkdaddy. So I'm going to just call you Dark, as we kind of discussed a moment or two ago. How you doing today, Dark?
Not too bad. Can't complain for a Monday.
Yes, and right before we went live, I think it was actually about 45 seconds or a minute late going live because we were having a great discussion about the techno music and our musical styles and tastes and EDM that goes oomph, 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 oomph.
Yeah. And it's the same beat for 30 minutes.
Oh, man. Yes. Yeah, yeah. So anyways, I did promise that I won't sing Garth Brooks, though. But,
save us all.
So did you stream today? You usually stream a little bit later, right?
I literally don't have a stream schedule. It's like a feel like I'm going to play some video games for a few hours. I'm going to stream. If I feel like I'm only going to play for an hour, I generally don't stream.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been known to stream like several days in a row, and then I've been known to stream like go 4 or 5 days without streaming.
That's fair enough. Well, it's definitely not a bad way to do it. You stream when you want to, right?
Right.
It's really the smarter way to do it because then you're never bored with which is unfortunately see I had to set a schedule for myself because I felt like if I didn't, I would have days where I would stream like 9 hours and kill myself, and then I would not want to stream for 3 days in a row. And I found that setting a schedule really helps me personally. It's not about like being there for my viewers or anything, just so much as like my own head.
Right.
But why don't you tell our viewers like what kind of things do you normally stream, or what have you been streaming lately? I mean, I know the answer, but
So I'm definitely a Blizzard fanboy at heart. I have every game that they own, except the only one that's not active is World of Warcraft because I've consumed too much of my life in that game, and I've kind of gotten over the phase of MMOs. I'm playing Overwatch. I'm playing Diablo 3 right now because the Necromancer came out. Hearthstone's fun. Heroes of the Storm. I used to be a big League of Legends player and then stopped playing that, and a few friends of mine played Heroes of the Storm, so I got into that. Outside of Blizzard, PUBG, as you and I have talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And then 7 Days to Die is like my odd game that I absolutely love the game. I host my own server for it. A couple of my friends, we play on it, and that game has been a huge time sink to me. Like, I never thought I would like it. Only reason I bought it was like $20, and I got 2 keys for it, and I gave one to my friend, and we both tried it together. So, but like we were at our peak, we were like getting up in the morning, playing for a few hours, stopping. Then at night we would play for 6-7 hours. Wouldn't even know what time it was. Like just farming, killing zombies, building, and never gets old, or never was getting old.
Live to craft, craft to live. Right?
Yeah,
you got to make those pungy stick pits that the zombies will fall into.
Oh yeah, they just did Alpha 16 and they added electricity, generators, solar panels, blade traps. Like it's crazy.
I have a fairly regular viewer who is constantly telling me, she's like, you got to play 7 Days to Die. My husband and I play it. We'd love to play with you. You could stream it, and I'd be like, personally, I don't get into those crafting games that much. Like, I played Conan, the recent, Conan.
I bought Conan because I was like, I'm playing 7 Days to Die. Conan's supposed to have better graphics. I hopped into Conan, and of course, it was the cost, and my buddy couldn't get it running, and so I was by myself, and I was just like, this is kind of boring by myself, so I'm not really going to play. I still have the game, I just don't really play it.
Yeah, I mean, I got in on real early access. Like, I think like a day or two after it came out in early access is when I bought in, and I played a lot. I played like 40 hours of it right off the bat, and then I just kind of hit this point where I'm like, maybe I'll come back to it in a couple months. But I personally, I'm not a big crafting game kind of guy, so I don't know. And yes, Big J's right. And Conan had the dongs, so that was a massive advantage to that game that 7 Days to Die doesn't have. So maybe that's why I liked it more than Zombies.
I was like, no way you can do this, and like they had like the size adjustment. I'm like, what? I must have played with that for like an hour. I'm just sitting there like, well, you can do this. You can jump up and down. It moves.
Yes, the dong slider, or if you play a female, the boob slider, and the.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is I was streaming it, and I was like, well, I better look into Twitch's EULA about this, and perfectly legit, perfectly legal, as long as you don't make it the focus of your stream. You know, as long as you don't have like a 30-minute break where you're just focused on your guy's crotch as you jump up and down in one spot. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, man.
Now, I got to agree with you. I've definitely been a Blizzard fanboy. My only thing that I was never big on is StarCraft. I don't know, it just never clicked for me. But yeah, I played some Heroes of the Storm. I played World of Warcraft from Alpha. Like, my EverQuest guild was the #1 guild on our server. So our entire guild got an invite from Blizzard to help alpha test the game. So I played from Alpha until Mists of Pandaria. And then I took about 2 years off. And then I came back for, like, kind of the last 6 months of Warlords of Draenor, and then played into Legion, and then I quit again, and I think I'm done with that. Yeah, I think it's just like what you said. You know, MMOs take so much time.
I played when the game first came out is when I started playing, and I played all of Classic, kept playing, and I stopped playing. Mists of Pandaria was the one that I started it, and then I'm like, this is kind of stale. Because Cataclysm was before that, I think.
Yeah, and Cataclysm wasn't that great. Like, there was a real 1-2 punch with Cataclysm not offering a lot of content for Endgame because they put so much focus into revamping the old world that a lot of people were like, they ran through the content and then there was nothing. And then Mists of Pandaria was great, but I don't know. There was something a little off about it.
Yeah, I played a rogue in Cataclysm, and so in the final raid was the legendary. So I literally had to be there for every raid, every week, and I burnt myself out. Like, it must have been like 3 months of me making every single raid, killing every boss. I got the legendaries. I went and destroyed people in PvP because the daggers were that much better because they were the best you can get at the time. Destroyed people in PvP, and then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm bored. Like, I took my rogue and actually transferred it to a big PvP server. Had a lot of fun there. Mists of Pandaria comes out. I didn't want to level on a PvP server, and I played it for like a couple weeks. I'm like, this is boring. And then I came back for Warlords of Draenor. Played because a couple people at my job were playing. Like, oh, you should come back and play. You should come back. So I'm like, okay. So I've got the level 100 or 90 boost. I went back and played. Went on Horde side, which all my stuff was Alliance. Leveled up at Paladin. None of them played. And I'm like, oh, so I now have no friends over here, and I have a Horde character. So my old guild said, hey, if you come back, we'll level you up, and we'll help you grind out all your gear and carry you through everything. I'm like, okay. Came back, raided. I was like, man, this is still just boring. It's too casual. The boss encounters are the same.
Yeah, yeah, you know, and that is one of the things about it. It really does feel like there's only so much innovation you can do. I mean, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 very casually, but I watched some of my friends play, and when I watched her do like these raid bosses, I just think to myself like, I mean, I've seen all this. It's all the same mechanic. Healers heal, DPS DPSs, tanks hold aggro, and then you move out of fire. And
yeah, don't stand in shit you're not supposed to stand in.
That's pretty much like you get to a point where you kind of go, there's not there's not so much new under the sun, I guess they say.
And then you're playing with people that stand in stuff, and you're like, Why? Why are you standing in that? Can you not see it?
Yeah, like stop being bad. You know, come on, really. You mentioned that you'll play Hearthstone. Now, I haven't been playing a lot of Hearthstone over the last month or two because Unguro kind of, you know, it's been out for almost 4 months now, and I'm sure you know the new expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, is coming out. But after 2 or 3 months in one meta, it gets a little stale.
Yeah.
And then I also discovered PUBG. That's actually the big thing. But are you excited for the new expansion to Hearthstone?
Yeah, I think with the amount of that I play Hearthstone. So right now I work from home for my regular job, and I'm an IT person, so I'm always on the computer. I'm always online, and Hearthstone's the type of game I can literally pull up and play a game while I'm working on computer stuff. You know, watching updates, stuff like that. So I get a lot of games in, and one I want to achieve a career high, I guess, for ranking. So I've been getting more familiar with the meta with Unguro. I've been playing a lot more. And I mentioned earlier, I've got 53 packs ready to open for Lich King, and I've got another 5,300 coins, so I can buy another 53 packs, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, on Thursday I'll be opening about 83 packs myself. I've got the 53 set aside, and then I've got about 3,000 gold because I believe I told you I had another 4,000 coins that I spent on vanilla packs. I bought 10 vanilla packs, 10 Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, Whisper of the Old Gods, and then Unguro, because when they made the changes to the way packs are going to work, it was only supposed to go to Wrath of the Lich King, but it actually applied to all of the expansions. So opening those 10 packs, I got a guaranteed legendary out of all of those. And then, of course, the pity timer also hit and apparently is being tracked differently. So opening 40 packs, the pity timer hit. So I ended up getting 5 legendaries out of 40 packs. I thought that was pretty good. I feel like that was worth it. I mean, it's 40 less packs that I'll get out of the new one, but I don't know. Have you been looking at the new cards as they've been being released, or not so much?
I've looked at some. I haven't really looked at them, committed them to memory type thing. I really don't know what class I want to play. I mean, I've kind of tended to hover around the same class, the same style. And then I literally have 2-3 decks that I play to climb, and then I've got 2 decks that I play just to have fun.
What's your favorite class or deck or what have you?
So the beginning of Unguro, Exodia Mage was my favorite. The fact that I've got 1 health left, a couple ice blocks in hand. I'm like, you're not gonna kill me this turn. You're not gonna kill me this turn. Oh look, I have all my cards. GG. I had a warrior that had 40 armor on top of 30 health, and I killed him. I literally was like, fireball, fireball, fireball. I'm like, man, that sucks. That guy is raging right now.
Well, as I can tell you, I played a lot of Quest Warrior early in the meta, and it's a massively, massively fun deck to play. And Exodia Mage was one of the ones that you just, if they got the nuts, man, that's it.
You can't do anything about it.
No, but I never minded. I mean, I never minded if they got the nuts. They deserved it. They earned it. You know what I mean? Right. When they would start doing the aha, 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 I was like, okay, concede, you got me. You know, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I've been playing a fair bit of mid-range hunter and secret paladin when I decide to try to climb the ladder. But generally speaking, I don't worry about the ladder too much. I'll tell you my favorite class though, Warlock. It is the worst it's ever been right now, but I love Warlock.
I don't really. My favorite class, man, I don't know. I've played a lot of Mage, but that's basically because Mage has always been the strongest. As long as I can remember, Mage has been the strongest. The AoE clears, the polymorphs, the secrets, It's just an all-around solid class. I really like the Rogue. I played a lot of, what was that Rogue called? Where you had Malagos, Miracle Rogue. No, that wasn't Malagos, but the Miracle Rogue. And then there was the Fatigue Rogue. I really enjoyed that. That was I felt dirty playing that sometimes. I'm like, oh, you just lost 5 cards. Sucks to be you.
A fellow Twitch streamer who goes by Win by KO. His real name is Cal. I watch him a fair bit in the mornings when I first wake up. He spent 4 months playing almost nothing but Miracle Rogue, and so it's like my least favorite deck now because I've just seen him play so much. But I actually, if you don't mind, just a moment here of self-promotion. On Wednesday, during my normal stream time, noon till 4, Cal and I are going to be doing a special Rhevs Palaver where we're going to be looking at all of the Wrath of the Lich King cards. Or Knights of the Frozen Throne, sorry. Knights of the Frozen Throne. Wrath of the Lich King was in World of Warcraft.
And we're going to be the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. So he loves Rogue. I have to say, probably because of Cal, though, Rogue is actually my least favorite class. It's that friggin' Miracoli Rogue. You're just sitting there waiting to, okay, auctioneer, coin. All right,
yep. And then if you're on the other end of it, and then the rogue completes his turn, but you can't kill the auctioneer your turn. You're like, wow, this sucks. He's gonna get another 15 cards from that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a very fun game. And Rock and Rage, who we were both watching on stream and who's in chat now, he just started playing Hearthstone literally this last week. He had never played it before, and he saw me playing it on stream one day, and so he just started playing it. So it's a very fun game. It's pretty addictive. I think so. I've been playing it literally since it came out, and I still find myself coming back to it. I mean, I'll take long breaks, but
this expansion about a month or 2 ago now, I picked up a tablet. I just picked up just a Fire 7 Amazon tablet, something cheap, just so I can run Hearthstone on it. And I have a fire pit outside, and I literally go outside by my fire pit, having a little bonfire, and I got the tablet, and I'm just sitting here just playing Hearthstone outside.
Yeah, it's I've got a what is this, an LG V10, which it's a very big phone, and I'm a big guy, and you can see I can't even get my hand all the way around it. So it's very easy to play on this too. I don't generally ever misclick or misdrive when I'm playing on that.
Yeah, I tried on I've got the Galaxy S7. I tried it, and it's just a little too small for me, and I make little tiny mistakes. I'm like, yeah, I think a tablet would be much. I mean, my tablet's probably 7 inches, so I mean it's still small on the tablet compared to I've got a 27-inch computer screen. So
hear that, ladies? He's got 7 inches.
That's right.
Oh, and someone, Big J mentioned it in chat, so I feel like it's time to bring it up as we're talking. I notice we're both stroking our beards. You got a very manly beard there. Is this a point of pride for you?
It is. I've had it since I shaved in October 31st, 2013. I had a beard, and what I did was for Halloween I went as Two-Face. My beard was nowhere near this long, but what I did was I literally shaved half my face, and I grew my hair really long, even though there really isn't much up here, and I shaved half the side of my head, like my normal style haircut, and that was my I basically was a rendition of Two-Face. And the whole reason I did it was I'm at work, we did No Shave November, see who could grow the biggest beard in the month of November. And No Shave November turned into just no shave forever.
I've had chin hair more in my life than I haven't. There was a rule in my house growing up: no tattoos, piercings, or facial hair until you turn 18. That was the rule for my parents put down for all their kids. No tattoos, no piercings, no facial hair. So I turned 18, and about 3 months into it, I said, "All right, I'm growing a goatee." And that's been it. I've had to shave it once or twice. Like one time I was part of a medical experiment where they had to put a mask on, and they said, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to shave this." They go, "Well, no. What we can do is we can smear Vaseline in it so that you get a touch." I'm like, I'm gonna shave it. But yeah, either this or a full beard my whole life since 18, and I'm gonna be 40 this year, so.
So in 8th grade was my first goatee.
Oh,
8th grade, and I used to play basketball because I'm 6'6". I've been 6'6" since like freshman year of high school, and there were teams in the 8th grade, coaches that wanted to see my birth certificate because I literally would be in the paint and like I could hold the ball above my head and no one could come close to it.
that's hilarious. I know when I was in 8th grade, I was the tallest person in my entire school, including staff. I spiked early. I hit 6'4" as my highest, but I've since shrunk. I'm like 6'3.5" now. So
I still hit my head on things, so I'm pretty tall still.
there you go. There you go. And yeah, so I'm gonna get back into the video games because you mentioned another game that I love, although I haven't played a lot of lately, is Overwatch. What you strike me as someone who enjoys the tank characters, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Diva.
In every game, I've always pretty much main tank. So Warcraft, I always played a tank.
Yes.
I stopped playing tank in World of Warcraft when they made aggro tables non-existent. When I legit could go into a fight, press a couple buttons, and then like go out and get a drink and come back, and I still have aggro on the boss just from auto attacking. I'm like, this is boring. Like, the tank role to me was at its prime when you had like Onyxia and Ragnaros, where you literally had the tanks. They had to hit the boss, 10, 15 seconds before any DPS started hitting it. Like, that to me was fun. So I started branching off into more DPS roles. But yeah, my Overwatch career, have you or whatever. I mean, I've been playing since beta. I might even had an alpha. I can't remember. Big J would actually know because I think for whatever reason, I actually got Overwatch before he got it. So him and I just shared accounts during the beta. Diablo 3, he got Diablo 3 beta before I did, and then we both played on his account. But yeah, I played Reinhardt several seasons in a row. Season 3, I was a big Diva fan. I played a lot of Diva. She got nerfed. Season 4, I played Roadhog. Roadhog got nerfed. Season 5, I told myself I'm not playing Reinhardt anymore. Like, I'm tired of relying on people behind me and the fact that I can't see behind me to know if someone's behind me. So I'm playing Winston. I'm kind of back on Diva because she's kind of back in the meta. Zarya, Orisa. The only one I don't play is Reinhardt. I still even play Roadhog even though he kind of sucks. I literally bought my golden weapon on him and then he got nerfed into the ground.
Dude, when they nerfed Diva by changing, what was it? I think 400 or 200 of her armor into health.
Yep.
I was like, okay, thematically this makes no sense. She's a 19-year-old Korean girl. Why would she have more health than Winston? Like, that makes thematically it makes no sense. I hated that change. And it made her feel so much worse.
Yeah, it I used to remember on Diva, I literally could dive into the enemy team, go through the enemy team to their back line and harass the healers, and my thrusters would come back up and I'd fly back to my healers.
Yeah, and it completely changed the way you had to play her, too. Like, she was a tank where you were supposed to get in there and draw fire and draw attention so that your flankers and your DPS could get picks. That was her entire point. But then with that change, it's like, well, now she's functionally worse, like similar but worse than Reinhardt. Like now she's more of an anchor tank, and I couldn't stand that change. And that was one of the things that really led me to kind of being done with Overwatch. The other thing was I really loved the Overwatch Uprising event. Did you play during that where it was...
I played quite a bit of that, yeah.
And then like 2 weeks later it went into the anniversary event. And I got the worst luck off of loot boxes during Uprising. And I opened like my first 2 or 3 ones in the anniversary event and just nothing but sprays. And I was like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore.
And the price of the skins were high too. The legendary ones were 6,000.
Yeah.
Like how am I going to get 6,000 coins? Like, I'm glad they made the changes they did so you don't get the duplicates as much. I actually didn't realize until the other day I get on and I opened a loot box on my main account, which is 3-star, 4-star now. and I had no duplicates, and I'm like, what? Like no duplicates? Like I'm usually like 3 or 4 duplicates.
Yeah.
So I like those changes. I definitely think the legendary cost was really, really high, though.
Yeah, I mean the worst thing was I never spent money on loot boxes, but the way that they had the system, it was like if you did, you actually ended up screwing yourself previously because the more money you spent, the more likely you were to get duplicates, and the conversion rate into coins is so bad.
It's really bad.
Like it's so bad. It just made no sense to me. I mean,
but the change, like I said, the change they made is really good. They actually, I don't know if you've been on Heroes of the Storm. They actually made loot boxes and loot chests in Heroes of the Storm now.
Yep.
Basically, a similar model, and it's like that's Heroes 2.0 has been so much more fun for me. Like the fact I can get skins without having to buy them with real money makes the game more enjoyable.
Yeah. I have played a little bit of Heroes of the Storm 2.0. It's more just a factor of how much time I personally have, like when I have time to play games. Yeah. Heroes of the Storm is pretty low on the list of games I want to play. I kind of just sort of think of Heroes of the Storm as the game I play to unlock Overwatch skins and Hearthstone card backs. Unfortunately, it's true. And I mean, I think I play more Diablo than I play Heroes of the Storm. It's a good game. As far as MOBAs go, I think Heroes of the Storm might be the best MOBA out there, personally.
There's certain features I really like about Heroes, and then there's certain features I really don't like about Heroes. Heroes gets a lot of gripe because it's so different, and I think that's what makes it a game that a lot of, like you were saying, like it feels like the best because it's a unique game. It's almost all MOBAs are one map, one objective, the same thing every time. Like I played a lot of League of Legends, and by a lot I mean that was my game. Mm-hmm. I would come home from work and I would play League for 4, 5, 6 hours, and that was it. While I was at work, I'd be looking at stats online, builds, and stuff like that. And Heroes is just literally like you never know what map you're going to get. I mean, you do a selection of maps, but it's a different objective every time, which means a different team comp. And different heroes function better based on the map, and that to me is huge for me.
And on top of that, in HOTS, one of the things I loved is there was definitely a much bigger focus on paying attention to the map, whereas in Dota 2 and LoL, it's just whatever, just kill people, and then if you do a team wipe on the other team, then run and kill a boss monster to get a buff, and then you sort of steamroll. Whereas in Heroes of the Storm, you really have to play to the map a lot more, which is one of the reasons I like it. Also, I also loved in Heroes of the Storm no item shopping. Yes. I hated that, man. Like, the reason I quit playing League of Legends, I played it a lot way early on. Like, the last new hero that ever came out was the vampire guy, Vlad or whatever.
Vladimir.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that was like 2012.
That sounds about right.
So that's how long it's been since I played LoL. But I loved Sivir, right? Sivir was my favorite hero. She was always good. She wasn't a one-on-one fighter. She wasn't, amazing in team fights. But what she could do is she could push the map. Sivir, I used to say, Sivir melts towers. She just melted them.
Yep.
And if you're playing and you manage to get a kill or you see the enemy retreat, you can take out a tower while they're gone. And that's how you win. That's how you win the game. You know what I mean?
Objectives.
But people are always like, "Whoa, Sivir sucks. Why are you playing Sivir? Why did you buy that item? You should have bought this." And it's like,
that was the one that League. I used to think League was probably the most toxic community. My Overwatch experience in the last 2 months, I think Overwatch is more toxic than anything I've ever played.
Well, it's because you play competitive. Sometime into season 3, I'm like, you know what? I'm never playing competitive again. I just couldn't stand the people.
It's what the weirdest part for me is I have 2 accounts. I have one account that is high platinum, and I have one account that is low gold right now. I can go on my high platinum account and I'll go 50-50, maybe win a couple more than I lose, whatever. I go on my low gold and it's like a 25% win rate, and it's literally half the team's in voice. You start off with like 5 DPS, like nobody wants to switch. You go in platinum, everyone's like, yeah, I mean, it's not my best role, but I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, let's talk. And you literally are constantly switching your comps up, and it's so weird that 500 SR makes that much difference in the way that people play.
But you know what? That's why people are gold versus platinum versus diamond. There's a different mindset to how to play at those different levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had an account. So I bought an account off a website that then they took my account back. Long story short, it was like some Chinese account, and I got the money back because it was through PayPal. So like literally, like they took the account back after a week, and then I went to PayPal. I'm like, they took it back. Here's the proof. Okay, here's your money back. But while I had it, I played in bronze at 900 SR, and I was having so much fun. I could care less about communication because I literally was like, I was playing like Genji and Tracer, which I am not a very good Genji or Tracer in my league, but in this lower league, I was destroying everyone, and it was such like this is what people feel like when they pop off.
No wonder people will say I'm a Hanzo main and refuse to play anything else. Like, I kind of get it.
They started down here.
Yeah. When it comes to DPS, I have to admit, I definitely have my favorites. I suck with Tracer. I suck with Hanzo. I used to enjoy, like Big J says, I loved Junkrat. He's terrible in competitive, but I love playing him. He's just so much fun. I love Pharah because I used to play Quake back in the day, so that old school rocket jumping mentality is great. Using your concussive rocket to boost yourself into the air it speaks to me on a very real level. And of course, Soldier 76 because damn punks, get off my lawn.
The big changes for Junkrat coming up, though.
Oh, really? What? I haven't been keeping up on the Overwatch community. So what's coming up?
I don't know the changes off the top of my head because I'm not a Junkrat main. Big J would know them. But I know he's at a place now. Certain maps he's okay on, but I think the buffs they're making to him is going to make him a much more viable pick on more maps.
Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with him is his lack of ability to close a fight. You can do a massive amount of damage, but it's very hard to close a fight. Right. I got very good at the point where I could launch his bombs over walls and bounce them off, bounce them around corners and hit people. But the thing is if they get down to 25% life, they can just run away and get healing.
Right.
That's his biggest problem.
Junkrat is the type of hero where you have to build your team around him, and he's very much he does great damage, but if people are smart, they avoid his damage, but you're essentially zone people out. You can split the enemy team, or you can bust down a Reinhardt shield very quickly, and if someone comes up real close to you, you can two-shot someone.
Yep.
With your auto attack and then your mine.
Yep.
Boom, they're dead. The trap, a lot of people, especially in lower leagues, don't see the trap. And if you hit someone in a trap, that's them not moving for your other DPS.
And not to mention, it even does a little damage. You can even get kills with just the trap. Especially if you're getting chased and you're backpedaling, you can drop the grenades, and if they're really stupid, they just follow you, eating grenade after grenade. And then, if your mine's in cooldown, you throw down a trap. I've had to where, you throw that down, clamp, and they die. And it's like, yes!
Start of the map, go to the enemy spawn, drop the trap mine out there, run back to your team, you see it's triggered, hit your trap, boom.
Yep.
You get a free kill, start of the match. It's like, oh. That's some alt charge.
Yep. I always, my favorite though is always Diva. Diva first, Pharah next, and then Lucio was my third. So my theory was I should always be good with, I should always be really good with one of the roles. So I should be good with one defense character, one offense, one tank, and one support. And defense-wise, it was Junkrat. Offense, it was Pharah, Diva, and then Lucio were my main four. And then I got good with a couple others, but I was never super good at the hit scan characters like McCree.
Yeah, I'm actually better with McCree than Soldier, which is weird, and a lot of people don't believe me. I'm like, because we'll go in games like we need someone to take out the fair. I'm like, well, I can go McCree. Like, well, can you go Soldier? I'm like, not
No.
really.
Well, Soldier
Yeah.
wasn't very good. Like, McCree absolutely dominated over Soldier until they buffed Soldier. And
Right.
it was a very small change they did, but they reduced his spread ever so slightly, and they upped his DPS by like 1%, but it was really more about that spread, that his auto fire spread, that made a huge difference.
Yep. I would say for me, Reaper is for damage would be my number one. I played a lot of him in the beta, and before competitive came out, that's what I got the most hours on. Course, just something about he's just like die, and he kills everyone. Like that, I had so much fun with that. Defense is actually Torb.
Torb's fun.
I love Torb, and it's only on select maps. One of the streamer, I actually watch a pretty big streamer. He plays a lot of Torb. He's got like 400 hours now on Torb, and I watch it. I love Torb. Tanks, my favorite's probably Roadhog. I would say still Road. I love the hook concept. I've always loved the hook. League, I used to love Blitzcrank. Like, it's because when you get hooked, your opponent's like, crap, run, 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 run. And then healer is actually Zenyatta. That Discord orb it's crazy. Like, I know from me personally, when I'm on like Winston or something, if I dive into the enemy team and I see a Discord orb, I stop whoever I'm attacking. I go right to that Discord orb.
Yeah.
And they melt.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Zenyatta if you have another healer, but there's so many times, especially again since I don't really play competitive, when I would play quick play or arcade mode or whatever. If you go Zenyatta, there's no other healers, and I don't think that he's a very good solo healer.
He can't solo heal. The only real Lucio can solo heal now.
Oh yeah.
Mercy and Anna really can solo heal, but Zen is he is a off healer. He is someone that's there he supports in different ways.
Right.
Same way Symmetra supports in different ways.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Anna. I totally forgot. She was like the first new hero they announced, right? And I thought, I'm not good with hit scan characters. I'm not going to be any good with her. Once I started playing her, I actually started playing her during the Halloween event, because she was one of the main characters in the Halloween event. And I started playing her, I'm like, actually, I kind of like her skill set. And I started playing her, I think even in competitive. Dude, I was like, oh my god, her skill set is so much that even though I'm not a great hit scan player, you don't have to hit scan your enemies so much. Usually you want your team to be in between you and your enemies. You just need to hit scan your team. Right. So it's a lot more forgiving.
Pre her nerf too, she was a counter to Pharah. Like, the enemy team had a Pharah, 3 shots, Pharah was dead from an Anna, which was, I agree with the nerf because that's ridiculous for a healer to be because once you hit one shot, like, it's very easy to track your scope around and hit the Pharah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Pharah took a massive hit around the time she came out, and then, I don't know, do you remember when the game was live, the Pharah Mercy combo was unstoppable?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was kind of looking for, like, a team to play on to do, like, small gold platinum level tournaments, so, I did a lot of scrims with people, a lot of different teams, playing around with stuff, and, yeah, that pharmacy was ridiculous. I mean, I played Reinhardt at the time, so it didn't really faze me. I knew I couldn't kill a Pharah Mercy. I just held up my shield and like, shield's going down, boys.
Someone get them! Someone! Anyone!
Shoot them!
Yeah. I feel you. But, you know what? As much as we both love Overwatch, let's talk about the shooter that we both really love right now. Since buying this game, I have not had a single day where I streamed where I haven't played it. PUBG.
Yeah, I wonder
how
many hours I have in it. PUBG's an interesting story for me because I bought the game because it was hyped. Like this was probably like 4 months ago or so. I bought the game. Everyone was hyping it up. Like, oh, it's such a great game. You know, if you love Overwatch, you know, go play this FPS, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I'll go try it out. Well, I tried it out. I went solo. So I went in the game. I parachuted. I landed. I found nothing. I got shot in the head. Like, wow, that sucked. I'll try it again. Got into another match. Parachuted. Found a couple items. Saw a guy. Died. Like, this game sucks. So I went back to Steam and I'm like, I'd like to return this. So I did the whole process, returned it, got my money back and whatnot. And then probably a month ago now, not to get sidetracked, a streamer that I watch, the one that watches Torb, I actually met a guy that through them. Him and I played Overwatch together. He started streaming and he was streaming PUBG. He's also from, like, I live in Maine. He also lives in Maine. Like, he's about 2 hours from me. I'm like, wow, this is a real small world. So he got me actually to pick up PUBG. And I was playing again. And I started playing squads. So there's, 3, 4 of us playing. And when you get like a team of people and you're all decked out and you're moving across the battlefield, you're like, shots at 55 and shots over here and I'm down. And I'm like, sweet. This is, I'm like getting hyped up. I'm getting into it. And I'm getting shot at. And I'm like, I don't know who's shooting you. I can't see anything. I've had so much fun with that, and I know my biggest problem in the squad that I'm holding people back is my accuracy, my gunshots, and the map positioning and being able to recognize certain things, as well as like looting. I mean, looting can take. If you don't know what the items look like and you're still going in, you're like, oh, I got to put my attachments on. I don't know what gun I want. So I've done solos for that, and I actually my second day since I rebought the game, I got a chicken dinner in solo.
Damn, son, the closest I've ever gotten was second place. I tell people it was one of those things where I knew where that guy was, and he was undercover, and I was undercover, and then the next circle appeared, and wouldn't you know, I'm as far away from the next circle as I could possibly be, and he was, right, and it was like. I'm going to have to move first. So I threw some smokes and I threw a grenade like a frag at his tree. And then I tried to book it like off at an angle for some other cover. And, he just lit me up and that was it. And I've never gotten as close as second. I've gotten second. I've gotten like fourth place twice. And I've gotten a couple higher tens. But yeah, the elusive chicken dinner still...
I killed that one I won. I killed one guy early on, and it literally. I went on the southern part of the map, but not on the military base island. I landed right there, and I just moved, east a little bit, and the circle came to me. I had to move a little bit at one point, and at the end of it, there were 3 alive, and I said, "Oh my God, there's 3 alive." I'm running with the blue chasing behind me, and I looked to my right, and there was a guy running parallel with me. He didn't see me for whatever reason. I turned, I unloaded, I killed him, and the game was over. I'm like, wait a minute, there were 3 left. So I'm like, oh, someone died in the blue. When I looked at it again, I'm like, wow.
Yep. And sometimes, and it's funny, the blue circle, it's very, it's random to an extent. And I always say that's one of the things I really like about PUBG is it's a very skill-oriented game, and there's not a lot of randomness to the game, but there's so many moving parts to the game. There's so many things going on that it feels like there's randomness to it, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, there's so much going on. You don't, sometimes your bullets, you've got this much space to hit, and your bullet can land anywhere inside that circle, and the guy's right there, so if a bullet, whizzes past him as opposed to hitting him, well, you should have scoped in, or you should have gotten closer, or you should have held the shift button to hold your breath. Like, there's so much to it.
Yeah. That
it feels random. The only thing that annoys me is when something happens that is not my fault. Absolutely 100% not my... Like, I don't mind if I die in 95th place. I don't care. But when I've got a dead beat on someone and I go blam, 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 blam with a shotgun, and then all of a sudden they go blam, and all of a sudden they were standing right here and they warp over here and I'm dead, and it's like, oh, network lag.
Lag. Yeah, I'm usually not one that blames lag, but yeah, I mean, the game's in alpha, lag happens, and it's frustrating. And as long as that doesn't happen every single game, I'm usually okay with it. But
Well, after that last big patch, there was really bad lag. I was like, I'm not playing for a few days, and I didn't
yeah,
play for about 48 hours because I was like, until they fix that, there, and there was a clip, in my Discord channel, which, by the way, as RevBot just mentioned, you can join the Proper Nerds Discord and socialize with me and couple other streamers like Rock and Rage, Lassane, and Taintosaur, as well as many other people who just come and hang out. It's a fun little community. But yeah, I put it in my Discord, and it was bullshit. Like, I came down the stairs, I heard someone downstairs. I had, the S12 shotgun, the auto shotgun, I think. I had a shotgun. I came down the stairs, I saw the guy, fired into him, and all of a sudden, he warped to a different part of the house, and then I swung around and started firing at him, and he moved it wasn't a natural movement, and it was almost like he was running this way, but even though he was running this way, he fired at me and killed me. I was like, it was like he was warping around the map because of lag.
Houdini.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
The guy I play squads with, I was watching his stream. He was doing a solo the other day. He literally was up top of containers. He saw a guy. He went towards the guy, and the guy was nowhere to be found. He started getting shot at. He saw the guy again, positioned himself around the building the guy was in. The guy wasn't in the building. Literally a Houdini, perfect execution of him moving to not be seen.
Dude, I had one of those today, man. So
yeah,
I don't mind it when I get beat by a superior player. I understand people are going to be better than me at those games. This guy was by far one of the best PUBG players. I saw him first, and I got a couple shots on him, and he ducked behind a wall, and then he was throwing grenades and smoke so he could close the distance, and he had me trapped on the second floor. So I thought, aha, I'm going to get sneaky, and I went out a window.
Yep.
And it was like, this guy was insane. He immediately turned around from his position and was tracking me by sound. I couldn't see him. He was just pegging me, lighting me up. And I was doing some real defensive juke tactics because I couldn't see him. Then I spotted him again, and he's up at a rock, and then he's not moving. And I'm like, uh-oh, he might be using the terrain, and he might be circling. So I tried to go out a different way, and just, boom, instantly dead. I'm like, I don't know how this, that guy was insane. He just, as soon as he saw me, he was in stalker mode, so he goes.
The one thing I hate about the game that, I don't know if it's would be that big of a change, is I don't like how you, when you're playing, hear the sounds you make, like your footsteps and stuff, and literally every time you're like, is that someone in here? And you pause, and you're like, okay, there's no one. Then you move, you don't hear anything, and all of a sudden you hear footsteps, like, wait a minute, are they moving? And before you know it, you've wasted so much time in the one house because you think someone's there and no one's there. I wish I could just mute my character sounds. I understand I'm going to make sounds if I'm sprinting or running or whatever. I would rather not hear those sounds at all. That way, definitively, I can say that, yes, this is coming from someone else.
I feel like, maybe if you're sprinting, you should hear your footsteps. But that is one thing that always annoys me. Even if you're, shuffling or crawling or crouch walking, your own footsteps are so loud, and that's not realistic. That's one of the things that bothers me. They say, oh, it's one of the most realistic games. And people say, what do you mean it's not realistic? Of course your own footsteps make sound. Yes, but the human brain has the ability to completely negate certain sensory input. Every day of your life since you've been born, you've seen your nose. How often do you ever think about your nose? Yeah, see, you had to look. You had to look. It's because your brain automatically filters it out. Yeah. Your brain doesn't perceive your nose unless you actively think to look at it. And that's the same way it is if you're walking somewhere and you're listening for noises, your brain filters out certain things that you recognize as your own footsteps. You know what I mean? So the way that your own footsteps are so loud is, to me, unrealistic.
And doors are stupid loud. give me some WD-40. Maybe can I just find some WD-40 before I open the door? Kind of like just spray it.
Or like, how about we just close the door slowly? We don't have to slam every door.
Ooh.
Like,
hi guys.
Yeah, like, I mean, there should be an option to like slow open or slow close a door and maybe make a little less noise. You know, like when you take a bandage, you know how it takes 10 seconds? Maybe it takes 5 seconds to slow open or slow close something. But I don't know. I mean, maybe that would be totally.
I mean, the game is an alpha. It's very well possible those types of changes could come. I mean, that's the one thing I really love about alpha games is they're not complete, and that means that they're still going to be, they're still actively working. Like 7 Days to Die is another one. Circling back, they just released Alpha 16. They improved so much in the game, and they listened to the community so much. I mean, they're only a team of a few people, so for them to make big changes to a game, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And then you get people that are playing on PlayStation, Xbox that have different versions, but they don't realize that there's different regulations for those updates, where Steam is a lot more like laid back as far as updates go.
Yeah. I do have to keep that in mind at times. Like, when I mentioned when PUBG had the recent big patch and the lag made the game unplayable, I did tell myself, okay, just don't play it for a few days. It's in early access. Don't baby rage. I did, man. Oh my god. I baby raged so hard when that guy was... I said, am I playing this fucking Nightcrawler from the X-Men here? Like, bam, 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 just teleporting around? But yeah, it's a good advice. You gotta remember when these games are, still in development.
Blizzard games are the same way. Like, the last WoW expansion, Legion, was the best Blizzard launch I've ever seen for WoW. All the other ones previous were horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get, there's thousands of people on, and, you got to figure we all have to start the same zone when we quest. Like, you give me the first quest to go kill 10 of these guys, but there's only 20 of them out here, and there's 2,000 people out here trying to kill them. Like, that's one reason I really like Mage. Like, certain classes had abilities to instantly tag stuff. Yeah. Like, I would just spam tab on my keyboard and like Fire Blast or something like that. No matter what, before you visually could even see the mob, I could hit it. Yeah. And there was no projectile, it was instant. Whereas like a hunter, they fire first, but the time it takes their projectile to travel, but yeah, so not to get too far off, everyone has their issues. Blizzard is obviously a lot quicker at fixing their problems because they're Blizzard, and it's a fully released game. Like in alpha, like give them time. The lag issue could have taken a week, 2 weeks, and it still would have been acceptable, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually pretty happy that they fixed it so quick. Someone said that it was mostly fixed within 24 hours. I waited like 2 days before I played it again, and when I played it again, it was pretty much back to normal, so that was fine. You mentioned, just real quick, how Legion was one of the smoothest launches. They did something really smart in the pre-event in Warlords of Draenor leading into Legion. You had to do the quest chain where you go to the Broken Isles and rescue King Varian and, rescue him.
He got rescued all right.
Oh, he got rescued right in the face. But anyways, that was a necessary step in the quest chain, right? So everyone who did all of those demon invasions did that during part of the demon invasion. So when Legion launched, they were able to just go right into Legion, whereas people who only came back for Legion still had to do that. And that really, not a huge portion, but that split a good 20% of the people playing on the server to do those other events, while the people who had been playing during Warlords of Draenor during that demon invasion were able to sort of move on out of those starting zones.
The other big thing with Legion 2 was there was 5 zones, and it scaled with your level.
Yeah.
So now you have 5 zones, and you as the player can pick your zone that you want to go to.
Yep.
And I mean, again, that spreads out the people, that spreads out the density. And they also made it that if you were working on the same quest I was, even if we weren't partied, as long as I hit the guy that you were attacking, I would still get the loot and I would still get stuff from it, and we would get our quest done complete. So regardless of who's tagging stuff, like we're all getting credit for it.
And it just made sense for anyone playing. If you saw someone fighting something, help them. Only because you probably wouldn't get aggro. You probably wouldn't take any damage. It was only a few seconds off your time, and you'd get loot and experience. Yeah, so I agree. But you know what? I mean, I always say the first 7 minutes takes longer than the next 53. We're down to the last 5 minutes of the show here. I wanted to... there are two little things. So first of all, I have to ask, your t-shirt, is that a Five Nights at Freddy's t-shirt?
Sure is.
Did you play that? I never even touched that game. I have no interest.
I played the first two of them. I don't really get scared by jump scare games. The t-shirt actually came free in an arcade block or something like that. One of them Loot Crate type box deals. But I love the game Five Nights at Freddy's. I love the characters. I love the little storyline behind it. I actually collect the Funko Pops from Five Nights at Freddy's.
I see a giant wall.
That's like a minor part of my collection. I think I've got 200 and something in my collection. And that's just like my collection. I also run an online retail store as a hobby. So the boxes over there, that's all inventory stuff over there that I just got, all South Park stuff. I started with actually Big J. We started about a year ago, and we started as like a small investment, and now we're buying $2,000 of them at a time, turn around, selling them, and making $3,000-$4,000 on them. So, not a get rich quick scheme. I'm a collector. He's a collector. We buy the stuff, and we can trade for stuff we want for our collection, or we keep the stuff we buy for our collection at the cost that we pay for it, and we pay pretty much 50% of what retail is. If you go to a store, you're going to pay $10. I pay $5.
Mm-hmm. So. And I mean, it doesn't hurt to make a little extra money too. That's always good. I'm not a fan of scary games, and I don't generally like zombie games, which is one of the reasons why I'm not into 7 Days to Die. But I don't know if you've tuned in when I've been streaming Alien Isolation. Have you caught any of that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my god, it's so terrifying. But it's not jump scare terrifying though. It's constant, unending terror and fear of what's going to happen, and the music, and like, oh god, and you're hiding in a locker, and there goes the xenomorph walking past you, drooling slime, and you're like, ah!
Yep.
So, yeah, but I was never into jump scare type games. Well, one last thing, I guess. Was there anything you wanted to bring up before we have to say goodbye? Is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention, or something you got coming up that you'd like to plug, or anything of that sort?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I stream on regular schedules. I usually keep about the same amount of viewers you usually have. I love playing with like viewers and interacting with them. To me, the best part about streaming, for my opinion, is I love just the viewer interaction. Like, I could care less about the follows, about the subs, about the donations, like all that I don't care about. I don't need the money. If you want to do it, that's fine. It's up to you. I love the interaction. I love seeing someone come in, and then we sit there and we literally have while I'm playing a game, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing this character and I'm doing this and this is why, and how do you feel about this change? And I love that type of interaction. That's pretty much the reason I really like streaming.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you 95%. The only part that for me personally, I don't agree with is I don't need the money. I'm like, yeah, I'm poor. I love it when I get those donations because believe me, they help. But yeah, otherwise, yes, I agree. I don't worry about the followers. I love talking to people and getting to meet new streamers and checking them out and so on and so forth. I don't even remember how you and I met. I'm sure we were...
I joined Team MZ, and you were one of the streamers that I saw streaming in there. I'm like, oh, I'll hop in and watch.
Yeah, gotta love Team MZ. I mean, gotta love it. Well, listen, it is pretty much the end of the show. So the way I end every podcast, and I don't know if you know this, hopefully you don't, because it's always so much better when people don't. It's so much more fun when people don't know how I end my streams. My podcast. What we're going to do here is we're going to do one last thing, and then we'll say goodbye. But before we do, please, everyone, make sure that if you are not following Darkdaddy, you go to twitch.tv. And if you would, actually just say hi in chat so people can click on your name right now, Dark. And make sure you toss him a follow. He's a great guy. He's really entertaining to watch. I personally will watch him. He streams a little irregularly, so I can't fit him into my regular routine. But I highly recommend that you do it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do this one last thing, and then we're going to say goodbye for the night. And that one last thing is I like to make sure that my guest, who I really hope you understand how much I appreciate having you on, I had a lot of fun, they get the last word. So, Darkdaddy, last word goes to you.
Oh, God. I think I knew this, too. Yeah. Darkdaddy, out.
Bye-bye, everyone.